If you're not a fan of President Trump, you could apparently be considered a domestic terrorist. That's according to MAGA sweetheart Riley Gaines. The former college swimmer sounded off on Trump haters in a post that has garnered over 1 million views, writing, "If you wish for President Trump to fail, you wish for America to fail. And if you wish for America to fail, you're a domestic terrorist."
Gaines is now currently employed by Fox News as a commentator. Before that, she had gained some nationwide attention for opposing transgender athletes competing in women's sports. The conservative commentator also got over 1 million views for another post she made over the weekend, writing, "Give President Trump the Nobel Peace Prize."
Former Republican Congressman Joe Walsh responded to Gaines's tweet about domestic terrorism, writing, "Nope, the exact opposite. I wish for Trump to fail because I wish for America to succeed. What Trump is doing, his stupid tariffs, his cruel deportations, his traitorous siding with Putin, will all hurt America. I don't want to hurt America, so of course I want Trump to fail."
This Joe Walsh guy. But then he goes and does the same thing. He said it's that Donald Trump is committing, it's traitorous because of his diplomacy with Putin, which is just nonsense to me. I agree with Riley Gaines on status of transgender athletes, the thing that made her famous. I agree with her on the Nobel Peace Prize for Trump. I obviously don't agree with her that wanting Trump to fail is being a domestic terrorist, in the same way that that if you said that you wanted Barack Obama to fail, as all conservatives at the time did, you were not an enemy of the country. The head of state is not synonymous with the country. I hope if Trump engages in policies that I think are bad, that I hope he just doesn't do that. Him failing is not the way I would phrase it, but I hope he pursues good policies that make America safe and prosperous and secure, and I think everyone is so it's kind of a misnomer. It's just like a straw man argument.
Yeah, it's also a ludicrous argument. I mean, the fact of dissenting from a president's policies does not make one anti-American or unpatriotic or anything else. And of course, when I saw this and I saw we were doing this segment, I did the little Twitter search of Riley Gaines's tweets for Biden. And of course, there are like more tweets than I could be bothered reading of her excoriating him for various things. Did she want him to fail? Does that make her a domestic terrorist? I mean, I would never accuse her of that because she has a strong dislike of what Joe Biden's policies were.
Right, especially because the right should have a new appreciation for how the term domestic terrorist can be weaponized against them in terms of their political... It can be weaponized against anyone. I have testified before Congress on the use of the term domestic terrorist and how even what is a terrorist is kind of not well defined. We accept that, like, I guess specifically Islamic extremist people elsewhere and they're inspiring attacks here is what terrorism is. But beyond that, we don't have a good, for how political your motivations have to be or how organized or how motivated in terms of any kind of violence. I bring this up a lot, how we, I think, overly focus on ideology as roots of violence when that accounts for very, very little violence in this country, and most violence is other things. And is labeling people domestic terrorists creating a kind of new patriot act, for whether it's being done to Islamic people or right-wing people or whoever?
Yeah, but she isn't even linking it to violence here. She's making
No, she's looking at purely to ideology, was
exactly.
my point.
Yeah, exactly. And she's saying that simply by believing certain things or by being in opposition to Trump, you are, by virtue of that, a domestic terrorist.
She also tweeted something you're not going to like very much either. And frankly, I don't either.
I like many of the things she tweets.
And this is the one, I'm coming off as so libbish today. This is the one crazy COVID contrarian thing that I just do not believe in.
Yeah.
She was tweeting, get your school's about to start, get your ivermectin. So
I saw something about this.
Guys, there's no evidence that ivermectin is some panacea for all. There's also not, for COVID, very much. Again, it's not, some on the lib side went too far. It's not dangerous. It's not only given to animals. People do take it for... mostly for parasitic worm infections. It's not poison. It's not going to kill you, and it's not just for animals. But the effects that were shown in some studies of it having because there were some studies showing a very slight positive correlation with overcoming COVID for taking this drug, but most of those studies came from parts of the world where there are a much higher level of parasitic worm infections.
Right.
So what I suspect is that if you both have worms and COVID, your recovery from COVID is going to be worse than if you just have, you have multiple illnesses at once, and that's what was showing up in the data.
Quite right.
But it's not harmful. Fine, but there's no evidence that you should just be taking it as a dietary supplement, like your Flintstone vitamins or something. And or use this order code to get, so it's selling supplements.
Yeah, I mean, people hawking that sort of stuff, I think, is kind of fairly sad and pointless. Yeah. But don't you think, I mean, beyond the...
By the way, Niall, have you had your daily cup of Boost Energy?
We need to bring back that old style of TV advertising. Just like
from the Truman Show?
Yeah, exactly. Or
that.
what was the guy who's Dick Cavett used to do those kind of commercials in the middle of the show.
Love us some product placement. I'm not above that. I'm not above it.
Depends what products we would have to place, I suppose.
I think a coffee product would be the perfect one for us.
We could endorse that quite happily, for sure.
Yeah.
In relation to Riley Gaines, it seems to me that she's sort of emblematic of this broader thing, which is whether you want to call it audience capture or just continually having to ratchet up the kind of anger and things to get attention. It just seems like increasingly that's the way of the political and cultural environment that we're in. And I find it a bit depressing that people are just prone to making these more and more outlandish claims. Like, I would love to know, does she really in her heart believe that criticizing Trump makes you a domestic terrorist? Does she really in her heart believe that ivermectin helps with COVID? I don't know. Maybe she does, but these seem very... I'm very skeptical of the sincerity of some of this stuff, because I think part of it is simply shock tactics in order to win or retain attention.
And if you're just always outraged about everything all the time, I think whoever your viewers or customers or readers are start to get extremism fatigue. Is just a kind of lesson I would give to other people in the influencer space. If you're just exercised with complete rage every, when there's a male cheerleader or something, then don't you lose the ability to be outraged when something particularly egregious happens on the other side?
I saw something over the weekend on social media where a liberal commentator was outraged that Gloria Gaynor is getting a Kennedy Center honours, I think. And it was like, this is disgraceful. She doesn't deserve it. And I thought, in the numerous things that I would criticize Trump for, I don't think Kennedy Center awards for Gloria Gaynor would rate very highly. And so when people get so exercised about that kind of thing, I do think it takes away from legitimate reasons for anger a bit more serious matters.
Yeah, and there's certainly a progressive version of this too, but especially with X being so taken over by conservatives now, where so many of the, I think, most screeching and annoying, Bryan Krasenstein's still on Twitter, but that kind of character is now on Blue Sky, threatening the life of Jesse Singal or something. So X is more people who are just, this is cultural Marxism, and it's it's a cupcake or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Chinese government is cultural Marxism. It's a cupcake you don't like.
I know, but do you not think that pattern is becoming more and more prevalent, though, where people just are constantly outraged and enraged about everything? There seems to be a lot of that in the political culture at the moment, no?
Yeah, because it's more like a fandom. It's more like sports and entertainment.
Cheering on your
So
team.
people are outraged in the way, my dad used to be outraged when the Michigan State Spartans were having a bad season. It's that kind of outrage. So, which is almost fine and normal. Then the question becomes, is having our politics become more like sports and entertainment, good or bad for our society? And probably a lot of people would say, well, obviously it's bad. I'm a little less sure, because I don't know that people paying more attention to politics and treating it very seriously even is proven to have favorable results. So
yeah, I think I would regard it as bad, simply because I think that when you get into that scenario of looking at it like sports, you just pull on the jersey of your team and you stop thinking independently about things. I mean, when we have these discussions, like I was criticizing earlier on the Texas Democrats for disappearing, you were criticizing, or at least acknowledging the validity of criticisms of some things Trump does and so forth. And I think that kind of thing gets lost if it's just like, yes, my team's better than your team, so, you know, screw you kind of thing. That doesn't seem to me to be useful political debate.
Yeah, I could probably come up with some kind of defense of it, but I need to think about it for a little while.
Fair enough.
So
Come back at some point.
We'll just leave it there. Next up, former Congressman Anthony Weiner has a bold prediction about the New York City mayoral race, although who asked him? We'll be right back.